Thanks for coming. I didn't know what was up there.
Good afternoon. Much better. My name is George Nee. I'm the president of the Rhode Island AFL-CIO and want to thank you all for coming here today to your building, your house, to pass legislation to benefit our members, to make sure that people are not disrespected any longer when they work and they're not cheated out of their wages or misclassified. We have a very short speaking program today. We also have a hearing today later on after the rise of the House on our wage theft and misclassification bill. So, first of all, I want to acknowledge that this is an issue for the whole labor movement, every single worker, every single union, and that's why many of you are here today to represent those unions. So thank you again for coming here today. Our first speaker this afternoon is Patrick Crowley, who is the Secretary Treasurer of the Rhode Island AFL-CIO. Patrick.
All right, Pat.
Thank you, George. Brothers and sisters, let me share with you some news. You have got to read the testimony that some of the bosses have put in on this piece of legislation. They're justifying the fact that they want to steal from workers. They think it's too hard to comply with the law. They don't think it's fair that they should be held accountable if they steal money from your pocketbook. They don't think they should be held accountable if they misclassify workers as independent contractors. You know what I have to say to that? Go to hell. We're going to pass this law. These bosses need to understand that the entire labor movement, private sector, public sector, construction workers, firefighters, hotel workers, every single one of us wants to make sure that working people can go to their jobs, get a fair day's wage for a fair day's pay. And the bosses don't like that. You know why? Because to them, it's about money. It's about greed. It's about making sure that you know your place. Well, you know what? In the labor movement, our place is right here in the people's house. And we're going to get this over the finish line this year. Are you with me?
Yeah!
Are you with me?
Yeah!
One more time, let me hear it.
Yeah!
Solidarity, brothers. Let's get this done.
Yeah!
This time it's my pleasure to introduce Adi Goldstein, who is the Deputy Attorney General of the state of Rhode Island. Make sure we know that the Attorney General, Peter Nerona, and his office have been strong supporters of this legislation for many, many years. And this is going to be our year. So, Adi, thank you for being here today. And if you'd like to say a few words, we'd appreciate it.
Nobody's ever given me a bullhorn before. I never thought I needed one, but I might not give this back.
Okay.
Hi, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here today on behalf of the Attorney General's office and Attorney General Peter Nerona. If he wasn't at home recovering from surgery, he'd be here in person to let you know how proud he is and how happy he is to stand here with you. And yet again, after we've done it 3 years in a row already, support this really important legislation. It is past time to treat felony conduct as felony. There is no reason why an employee, who steals $200 from a cash register could face a 20-year felony for embezzlement, but an employer who steals $2,000 in their employees' wages is only facing a misdemeanor charge. It makes no sense. There is no reason why a person who steals a wallet with $1,500 in it can be charged with a felony, but an employer who doesn't pay his employees a prevailing wage, the minimum wage, or heck, any wage, and pockets $1,500 as a result, is only facing a misdemeanor. There is no reason why an employer who misclassifies their worker, as an independent contractor and doesn't pay unemployment insurance, SSI, benefits, overtime. Why? Why are they doing that? You already heard it. It's greed. It hurts the workers, it hurts their families, it hurts the communities, and it hurts taxpayers. And it's not fair to the employers who play by the rules. Okay? It's a crooked system, and it's past time to have a level playing field so that everybody plays by the same rules. Year after year, we get the question of, well, what about the innocent mistakes? How do we know, that you're really going after the criminals? Isn't it a he said, he said? Folks, we're prosecutors. We do thousands of cases every year. I think we can figure it out. I think we are capable of investigating, finding out what the facts are, okay, getting the evidence, and prosecuting the truly bad actors. Anybody who's out there knows that the DLT handles thousands of cases every year, handles them well. Yes, there are mistakes. Okay, yes, there are disagreements. Those are not the cases we're talking about. We're talking about the people who know, who act knowingly, who act deliberately and willingly, and they know exactly what they're doing and why they're doing it. And those are crimes, and we should have the tools that are necessary to investigate those crimes and to prosecute those crimes, to punish them, and to deter others from engaging in this conduct. Thank you all for being here, for standing with us, and your support for this important bill. Thanks so much.
Yeah, did an excellent job for her first time with one of these.
There it is.
At this time, I want to recognize a few people who have joined us today. Our Secretary of State, Greg Amore, our Treasurer, James Diosa, Senator Lawson from East Providence, also the President of the NEA, Senator Oyer from Newport, and I have and Senator Cano, who will be speaking in a second. At this time, see if I'm missing anybody. Am I missing anybody else?
Not right now.
Okay, I got my backup here. At this time, I'd like to introduce Lieutenant Governor Sabina Matos for a few words. Sabina? Okay.
I haven't used one of these in a while, so I remember still. Thank you so much. I'm glad to be here joining all of you, and thanks all of you for being here, because it's time that we end the wage theft. We have been working on this for a long time. When I was in the Providence City Council, we had several issues, several cases, and Justin, we had some fights, trying to make sure that we end the wage theft from our construction workers especially. And I want to bring a point here about who's being affected a lot because of the wage theft, and that is our immigrant community. There's people from my neighborhood that are afraid to report when someone is not paying them the wage that the amount that they should be getting for the work that they're doing. They're afraid to speak up because in many cases they're undocumented. And there are businesses that are taking advantage of those individuals. And the ones, all of us here, those of us that are able to speak up for them, we have to do it. And that's why I want to thank all of you for being here today, speaking out to defend those that are not able to speak out for themselves, but also to make sure that we're able to make sure that every worker is paid what they deserve, and that there's not businesses taking advantage of them, and that there's fairness for businesses. As the chair of the Small Business Advocacy Council, I can tell you that it is really hard for businesses that are trying to play by the rules when they have to compete with the businesses that are cutting corners and trying to do things under the table. It is unfair to them, and it's unfair to the workers. So thank you so much for being here today. Thank you for doing this. I know that we're not going to stop until we get it done. Thank you.
At time, I'd like to call up Senator Sandra Cano, who is the senator from Pawtucket and the chair of the Senate Education Committee. Sandra, thank you for being here.
Thank you, George. Good afternoon, everyone. How's everybody doing today? Listen, I have this energy because I know I'm here in solidarity with all of you, and I always been, because what is happening is a crime. So what it is a crime, and we need to treat it as one. That's a felony. We need to make sure that we do everything possible to make sure every working family and every labor person here that works for our state and our cities and do everything in their hands to make sure that our economy runs, get the fair pay every time. We need to protect the pay. We need to make sure that we do everything possible to stand in solidarity. I'm going to tell you a story and why I'm so passionate about this. And I'm going to just give a shout out to a friend of mine that is here that you all know, Haney Maldonado. So I'm going to tell you why. I'm giving her a shout out. Because when I was just a resident of Pawtucket and starting to do civic engagement, Haney got me to be in picket lines and making sure that I would be outside the businesses that were doing the wrong thing, and then just make sure I protect the employees and the labor unions and the people that were doing the work with them. So I've been doing this for a long time, and I will continue to do it. I'm in a position right now as an elected official that I have the privilege to advocate for you, and I will continue to do that until the finish line. So I'm here in solidarity with all of you. I'm here to tell you that we are not going to stop contesting and making sure, advocating for each one of you every single day until this happens. And the time is now. We need to end wage theft. We need to be doing the right thing, and we're going to do it together. Look at all of you. It's because of all of you that we have a great economy. And we need to make sure we treat the people that do the wrong thing the way that they deserve, as criminals. So let's just make sure that this is treated as a felony. Let's make sure we have the tools to do it, and let's make sure we end wage theft in the state of Rhode Island, because we can, and because we all are doing the best thing for our state. In solidarity with all of you! Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Sandra. At this time, Scotty Duhamel, Secretary-Treasurer of the Building Trades, and he played in the country with the Painters Union. Scotty, I don't know if he knows how to use one of these things.
I'm used to just having a big mouth. Thank you, Senator. And by the way, I think I parked in Pawtucket today. Can you fix my ticket? No, we all know why we're here. Let's face it. And it's great to see Building Trades brothers and sisters. I'm really happy you're here. We know what happens in the construction industry every day. But I want to make you aware, as Pat has alluded to, this is happening in industry after industry in Rhode Island, in the service industry, in the landscaping industry, in the back of a restaurant, every day. And it wouldn't be hard if we found someone to speak up. And within an hour, we could find a worker who's been ripped off. No OT, not paid what he was promised, paid in cash, every day, every hour, no exaggeration, any place, anywhere in Rhode Island, this is happening. You know what happens? Our very diligent Department of Labor and Training goes out there occasionally, and they do the right thing, and they find a owner who did this. They fine him or her, good. They get back pay, that's good. And you know what they do? They go out and do the same thing on the next job, because it's the price of doing business. There's nothing they're worried about. We need this passed tonight. Wage theft as felony. We want those bars, to slide across. We want them to think about that. There has to be a real ending to this. There has to be something that scares these people off. So I say simply, repeat after me. Wage theft as felony. Wage theft as felony. Wage theft as felony. And we're going to pass it tonight.
Well, every good team has a cleanup hitter. And today, you have the privilege of having one of the great cleanup hitters for the Rhode Island AFL-CIO Building Trades baseball team, Justin Kelly.
All right, I don't know if I'm any big poppy, but I'll tell you what, I will back clean up here. Every day, and I'm not exaggerating, every single day, I talk to a worker who's been ripped off by their boss. And I bet you know somebody too. So I want to see something. If someone you know has ever been ripped off by an employer, raise your hand. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. I worked for upwards of a decade, 1099, in the residential section of the industry. I worked before I came into the Painters Union for Brady Sullivan, getting ripped off, working in a mill in Providence. You've probably experienced it. And the fact is that employers can run around with impunity under our current law. You can go down, there's an old folk song, Woody Guthrie. Some people rob with a 6-gun, and some people rob with a fountain pen. And the reality is, if you go stick someone up on the corner, you're gonna do time. But if your boss robs you with the pen, slap on the wrist. Keep on doing it. But it gets worse than that, brothers and sisters. It's a premeditated act that the general contractors, the construction managers, and the developers in the non-union section of the industry purposefully engage in. Right down here, right in the shadow of the Statehouse, the corner of Smith and Canal Street, JS Interiors, a company from Pennsylvania, rammed through the process for a minority business enterprise recognition. Not once, not twice, 3 times in the corner of the Statehouse, in the shadow of the Statehouse, found guilty for wage theft and misclassification of their employees. They had kids working there, teenagers, holding hands, finishing drywall, walking down the hallway when they should have been in school. And my question for you is, are you okay with that? No! Are you all right with that? No! Neither am I. So it ends now. Today's the day we end wage theft, right? Yes! So what do you want? Do you want justice? Yes! What do you want? Justice! When do you want it? Now! What do you want? Justice! When do you want it? Now! What do you want? Justice! When do you want it? Now! It's only time.
Thanks, brother. So, thank you all again for coming. I do want to recognize Mike Sabatoni, new General Secretary, Treasurer of the LIUNA organization nationally, and Danny Bianco from the Laborers, the new Vice President for New England and New York. All right, everybody's on board here. Talk to your reps, talk to your senators. This is our year. Let's make it happen. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us for this edition of Labor Vision. We appreciate your input and encourage your comments. Labor Vision can be seen on this channel 3 times each week: Tuesday at 7 p.m., Thursday at 8 p.m., and Saturday at 5 p.m.